Okay, good evening and welcome to Iyun Bikurim Paragil Mishnah Zion. I'm going to give two Iyun Shiurim tonight because I have two things to say, so why not? One on Mishnah Zion, one on Mishnah Ches. Mishnah Zion says, part of the mitzvah of Bikurim is to do Kriyas. There's a certain parsha you read and found in Parshas Kisavo that you're supposed to read when you bring Bikurim. The Jew who brings the Bikurim is supposed to read it. So if you knew Hebrew, so you'd read it yourself. If you didn't know Hebrew, so the Mishnah is makron. So what does it mean makron also mean? So there's two ways to understand it. One way of understanding makron also means they would say the words and the person would repeat what they said, right? Or the explanation is makron also they'd read it. I mean, the official in the base of English who knew how to read Hebrew would read it, and the other person would listen and be used through shomea ka'ona. Shomea ka'ona. What happened was that people became Ninulahavi. Certain people that didn't know Hebrew, they became embarrassed. They didn't want to bring their Bikurim because everyone would know they don't know Hebrew. So therefore, they made a takana that no matter whether you knew Hebrew or not know Hebrew, you would be Yotze through the Kriya of the Gabbai there, whoever was in charge. Now, again, like I said, there's two ways I want to say Makran also. One way of understanding is that they would go ahead and repeat, and therefore the takana was that everyone, instead of people saying it by heart, right? There used to be people who knew it by heart, and there are people that didn't know it, and other people used to say it, and they repeated word after word. But if that's the case, first of all, it's hard to understand that everyone remembered the Parsha and Parshas Kisavo. They didn't have Sidurim like they have nowadays. So presumably, even the people that knew just knew how to say Hebrew, so they would the Gabayim would say the word, they would repeat it after them. That's presumably what happened, and therefore, in the case of the people who didn't know how to read, it was that they didn't even know Hebrew. Is that they would say a word in Hebrew, and the people wouldn't know how to respond. They wouldn't even know how to repeat the word, even though I guess it's not so hard to repeat sounds you hear from somebody else. If you're not familiar with the language, though, it sounds weird. If someone asks you to say words in Chinese, they would tell you the words in Chinese, but you break your teeth on it. So, and also from the fact that the Rav brings Vanisa Vamarta. Right. The reason he made the takana was they made that everyone should do it. It says Vanisa v'amarta. Vanisa v'amarta. It says basically in the Torah they should answer and say. So if that's really Vanisa v'amarta, so it should be even l'chadchila. It should be the people. You should be answering. Someone should be saying Vanisa v'amarta. You should answer. They're reading it for you. That should be the first instance. Why is it the second instance? So therefore, in all likelihood, I think the explanation is that the people that were balking in Hebrew, so they didn't remember it. So the people, they came to Yerushalayim, the people they remember this parsha. They would tell them the parsha pasuk by pasuk, word by word. They would repeat it. Some people were Amaratzim. They didn't even be able to do that, and that's why they're embarrassed. They remember the Masakin that everybody was Yotzei through Shomea Ka'ona. That's the Chiddush of the Mishnah. Shomea Ka'ona. Yotzei through Shomea Ka'ona. Now there's a machlokas, about davening, Shomea Ka'ona, if you hear something, is that like you're saying it or not? This machlokas is the pshat that you're actually like you're saying it, or is the pshat that you're just yotzei the chiyuv? It's not like you're actually saying it. So from the fact that lechatchila, what they really should have done, if you know how to say Hebrew, you should be repeating the word. You shouldn't rely on Shomea Ka'ona. It leads me to believe there's a difference between actually saying a word and Shomea Ka'ona. It must be that Shomea Ka'ona means that you're not actually saying the words. It means that you're hearing of the word, you're your chiyuv, and that's what they were so Vanisa that Vanisa Shomea Ka'ona, hearing is like Ona, and that's also included in Aniyah, in answering. So that's basically be a proof from this Mishnah that Shomea Ka'ona is not exactly like saying it. It just means that but really l'chadchila, if you have an opportunity to say something, you should say it and you shouldn't answer. That's the conclusion of tonight's shir. Stay tuned for another Yom Tzion. Tonight we'll do analyze Mishnah Ches coming up next.